2. The New Nation. With the conclusion of hostilities with Great Britain, the new nation turned its attention to preparing and then ratifying a written constitution establishing a new federal government. The document itself, as noted previously, contained provisions which appeared to be conducive to the cultivation and development of the intelligence function. But with the disbanding of Washington's forces, the nation's leaders would actually organize intelligence operations in an ad hoc manner and on an extemporaneous basis during the course of the next century. Of great importance as well for the evolution and operationalization of the federal intelligence function are certain of the guarantees in the Constitution's Bill of Rights. Among these are prohibitions against Congress enacting any law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble, or of the right of the public to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. These strictures on governmental power could have special significance in the event an ambitious and zealous intelligence program were attempted to protect the citizenry from itself, or enemies of the state imperceptible to the people. Indeed, shortly after the federal government was instituted, circumstances might well have prompted an enthusiastic intelligence endeavor. When France, an old ally of the United States, was seized by the winds of revolution, the French Republic, in 1793, dispatched an agent, Edward Charles Genet, to Charleston in South Carolina. Before presenting his diplomatic credentials, Genet commissioned 4 privateers and dispatched them to prey upon British shipping, as France had declared war on England. He also sought to recruit an expedition to conquer Louisiana, which was then controlled by Spain, another declared enemy of France. While the United States sought to remain neutral in the conflict between France and England, President Washington was faced with an agent provocateur of a foreign power recruiting ships and men to engage in hostilities off the American coast and possibly marching through American territory to engage Spanish authorities. Washington received Genet with cool formality and subsequently informed him that his grants of military commissions on American soil constituted an infringement on the national sovereignty of the United States. Notice was also given that Genet's privateers would have to leave American waters and that their prizes could not be sent to ports of the United States. Although he initially agreed to comply with these demands, Genet was soon attempting to arm the Little Sarah, a recently captured prize. When warned against dispatching the ship, Genet threatened to mobilize opinion against Washington. Ultimately, the vessel escaped to sea, and efforts were made to have Genet recalled. By this time, however, the Jacobins had seized power in France, and a new minister to the United States had been dispatched with orders for Genet's arrest. Washington refused to extradite Genet, and he subsequently became an American citizen. Conditions continued to remain tense with regard to America's relations with France. In 1797, with the French Directory in power, harassments and seizures were made on American shipping. The American ambassador to France, Charles Pinckney, was refused an opportunity to present his diplomatic credentials. In an attempt to smooth the situation, the French were basically disturbed by the terms of Jay's Treaty, which in part granted American ships entry to the British East Indies and West Indies while placing British trade with the United States on a most favored nation basis. President Adams dispatched a special mission to Paris. Delayed on a pretext from beginning official negotiations, the American delegation was approached by 3 agents of the Foreign Ministry. Described in diplomatic dispatches as X, Y, and Z, these operatives suggested an American loan to France and a bribe of $240,000 to settle matters. When this offer was refused and the failure of the negotiations reached Adams, he informed Congress of the clandestine effort and submitted the XYZ correspondence to the legislature for inspection and public disclosure. The dispute with France was settled by an undeclared naval war, 1798 to 1800. This incident and the Genet affair set off a variety of conspiracy theories and fears of foreign intrigue in America. But rather than creating any countervailing intelligence organization, the response of the federal government appears to be that of restrictive law, the Alien and Sedition Acts. These consisted of 4 statutes enacted by Congress in June and July of 1798, which changed the residency period for citizenship from 5 to 14 years, authorized the President to order all aliens regarded as dangerous to the public peace and safety or suspected of treasonable or secret activities out of the country, authorized the President during a declared war to arrest, imprison, or banish aliens subjected to an enemy power, and made it a high misdemeanor, punishable by fine or imprisonment, for citizens or aliens to enter into unlawful combinations to oppose the execution of the national law, or to impede a federal officer from performing his duties, or to aid or attempt any insurrection, riot, or unlawful assembly. Quote, "Under these circumstances, the spy fever raged. Federalist Noah Webster said that in case of any fatal disaster to England, an invasion of America may not be improbable. A congressional document held that France and her partisans in America would unite for the subversion of religion, morality, law, and government. Her means, the report said, are in wonderful coincidence with her ends. Among these, and not the least successful, is the direction and employment of the active and versatile talents of her citizens abroad as emissaries and spies." Federalist journals babbled of conspiracy and hurled insults at anti-Federalists. William Cobbett, Peter Porcupine of Porcupine's Gazette, announced that on May 9, 1798, ordained as a national fast day, desperate villains would set fire to Philadelphia. But nothing happened. When the innocent Dr. George Logan of that city went abroad, Porcupine smelled a rat. "Take care," he raged. "When your blood runs down the gutters, don't say you are not forewarned of the danger." Volney, the historian whose journeyings had carried him to America, was branded as a French spy darkly maneuvering to return Louisiana to France. Genet, who settled peacefully on Long Island as a naturalized American, was said to be in correspondence with the tyrants. End quote. This is Our Hidden History